you. I can't say thank you enough for the wonderful submission by the leader of the mighty minority, the leader of the 87 Infantry Battalion, who will now open up the conversation to our friends from the media. If there is any question, we are ready to take. My colleague, Honorable Jerry Ahmed Shaib, will be doing the justice. If you have any concern, you raise up your hand. Here he is going to play the role of a speaker. If you catch his eye, if you catch the eye of the Member of Parliament for Wager, then we'll be able to do justice to that. So now the floor is open for our friends from the media. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Kweku Sechidanso from GhanaMPs.com. I just want to find out from the minority if there are kind of internal context to bring colleagues together, because we see what is going on, since you want to stand firm and hold government accountable. Thank you.
Next person.
Please,
yeah, bro.
You announce your media.
Leader, thank you very much for the opportunity. My name is Josam Ghana Page, and host of the constituency. Leader, you mentioned that Ghanaians agree with the quality of debate advanced on the floor of Parliament by the minority. Emphatically, you call for the dismissal of the Foreign Affairs Minister. Are there other ministers you want to see go, or is it just a dislike for the Foreign Affairs Minister? And is it not a situation where the job at hand is bigger than the labourers on the floor, regards to the number of ministers John Dramani Mahama has appointed and discussed them? You also mentioned that the majority has 189. Have you already considered Adawaso East to the majority?
Yes, any other please? Okay.
No, please. That's second. There's a third one.
Okay, graphic. No, Joy, in account graphic.
My name is James Abeji with Joy News. On the transport crisis in Accra and the other cities, the minority leader talks about the state of the state transport system and how government is not adding up to the numbers. In our recent interview with the Metro Mass Transit boss, he talks about the fact that some of these buses that have been disposed were done under the previous government. Minority leader, I want to ask if you can give us some details about some of these decisions to dispose of some of these buses. I also know that you initiated an electric bus project before you left government to purchase about 100 buses, then have been brought. The status of that, is it supposed to be continued by the recent government, and if you have any updates on adding up to the numbers? Plus, if there is any solution you can prefer to government on this. Thank you.
The minority leader will respond to these three questions before we take the next batch.
So let me deal with the first issue of post 31st January in Parliament. As you may be well aware, we've had a very civil engagement from Parliament. We, the 87, those colleagues who have been engaged in this discourse have done so with all civility. I want to assure you that these are internal matters. As for politics, things get heated. Soon after, we all rally behind the leader and the MPP flag to push the party agenda and to let Ghanaians know what we have for them. But you see, the NDC is busy talking about us. what they've also forgotten is that they also have a leadership contest awaiting them. And do also obi fieshe. Omo de nimpo de kankan kra. Sesi a obehu no ase edun katia ose okọ thank you to. Meanwhile no campaigning. They are hu say Aisa aban won your own preferred candidate. Jubilee House for so more candidate or obedi flag bearer amom na party no so one candidate. Nti enche bi obedu omo so. But the person can say MPP there. Nyame ya adoma after 31st yan ye war parliament. Ya ria taso se kwen bia so no ye de baako ye enka bom ebetai ni obewini n'echi. Na ye nyina ya boa ma party na akone kan. Nti no NDC for mundri omo no mudi omo fi asem. Ya nhwe kra na ebia by mid this year Omampei Mahama eba be lame that president because obia pay to me wo show omumu a vice president also onu so be di president and then I'm saying yet say onu afa haruna edrusa ya no running mate yet ya ne say chief of staff Julius Debra onu so nam ne kwan onu so be president edi onu so o say ne running mate any fifi kwete yet a majority leader ono so onam ne baby onini ablakwa omuso yo mu permutation yemia finance minister ono so omose obedi president ono so prepare no running mate nti ade no atasa o bebia yemia erikopoku ono agric minister one kasa wo ministry okra no sika ezezo omodi mawo na wodi ye kwadwuma kwa mo fama wo so be di president ono opinion the difference between opposition and government our opposition ani kati brofo kase and obedi minister sika odi be ye adwuma kra mpo no aya asema ma no ono so obedi president NDC for there no ebe huhu nti omundi omufi asem na omunja ye de man back to quality of debate. Yes, I mean ladies and gentlemen of the press, I don't think that there is any debate on this matter. Check the records. We have become formidable opposition because each one of us, in fact, if you look at the first timers on our side, it's so reassuring that MPP indeed has a future. I told somebody that in future it may be very difficult to make some selections because all of them are competent, all of them are determined, all of them have what it takes to deliver. So as for that one, it comes without question. Now on the issue of the foreign minister, my colleague, we in the minority, we don't attack personalities. Follow the consistency in my public discourse and that of my colleagues. We don't do personality attack, no. From the vetting to the house floor to all engagement, we raise issues. How can our foreign minister have an engagement with some ambassadors, write on social media, and the next day we hear of an embargo? How can you claim that Israel deported some Ghanaians and without engaging, you also go ahead to say retaliation? You know, when we were kids, right? There were times that when somebody is provoking you, then you say that, wouldn't say unya penny wo hunti, and I will yes sir. So you are careful. If our foreign minister was that measured, he would have known that attacking Israel had consequences. I'll leave it here. A word to a wise is enough. So we don't have anything personal against anybody. In serious democracies, when a policy fails, the minister resigns. How can the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources come to Parliament and to defend an agreement, only to do U-turn to withdraw it for further consultation? Any serious democracy, you have to resign. So that call on him to resign is not born out of our dislike for him. Our call on Honorable Ablako to resign is not born out of any dislike or any ill will. There's a clear foreign policy failure. He's not walked the path of his predecessors, who took foreign policy to higher levels. Even recently in ECOWAS, Ghana has lost out on a lot of vacancies that arose at ECOWAS, all because we thought we were eyeing an AU chair for His Excellency the President next year. What of if the countries we are relying on resolve? Ghana is a regular contributor. In fact, we don't fail in our contributions to ECOWAS. Go for the records. We've lost out in employment in ECOWAS. Institutional heads, 0. Main employment, technical staff, the ECOWAS civil servant. Ghana contributes so much, but we are losing out. So what is the foreign minister doing? On the Metro Mass issue, we are going to call on the Minister of Transport when Parliament resumes to answer questions regarding why they sat down for a whole year without putting in place measures to beef up the fleet levels. It again exposes the minister's lack of clear vision for the transport sector. But would bid our time, put together a paper by the appropriate committee of the caucus, and hold the minister's feet to the fire when Parliament resumes. So bear with us. We want to do the right thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now we'll take the next set of questions. Okay.
Our colleague, the sector head, is here, and he would want to expatiate a bit on this. So please bear with him.
The ranking member on transport. After that, you ask your question.
Yeah, before you can see the chair of the
Is your question related to the same? And you ask any further question?
Exactly.
Okay.
I mean, in leader's presentation, I heard him accuse this government of failing to institute a properly functional state transport. But per recent report we read, during your administration...
Did he accuse them, or that's the reality?
He blamed this government.
Yes, but is that the reality or is an accusation?
So if it's a question, then he cannot answer. But we all know that the problem that we are facing today in terms of Ghanaians having easy access to public transportation has existed over the years during your 8-year administration. I in Accra take public transport, and I always go through tough time as sector getting access to public transport, and the unbearable first transport operators are charged. But we know that during your administration, there is a report that about 330 to 400 Metro Mass buses that were auctioned, so as cheap as low as 2,500 some of your cronies. We don't want to deny this report, because if you fail to deny it, then we can also attribute the current challenge to some of your administration plans.
Please, can you rephrase your question? Why is one an accusation and one a report? You are saying that there is a report that was an auction.
The accusation is that...
And then you said the other one is an accusation. So is that one too not an accusation? What's your last sentence?
No. Two issues here. The accusation is that, one, the minority leader is blaming this government of failing to institute a functional state transport. As a government, as a party, we just existed power in 2024. We all saw that the very issue that you are accusing this government of were people under administration.
Okay, it's okay. Let you respond.
I think thank you very much. I think your question is clear. So let me respond to the earlier one with regard to the auction of Metro Mass buses. A lot of people don't know what goes into the processes before any bus is auctioned. Let me take my time to educate. Yes. No, in the auctioning of the buses that you are talking about, before any bus is being auctioned, it has to be certified by the Board of Survey. It is not true that buses were sold at a peanut. No movable buses were sold to any cronies. It is a palpable lies which being thrown out because of the recent event that is happening under this government. They are trying to just equalize, make an equalization. So I just want to let you know that it is palpable lies. If they want any full inquiry into the matter, like the leader said, once we resume, the minority is going to call for that. And we will have a public inquiry for Ghanaians to know the truth behind. Let us face the fact. There are challenges. Ghanaians are suffering to have, commercial transportation to their works and to travel around, and that is the most difficult thing, the problem that we have at hand. And I expect every Ghanaian to be concerned about it, to find a solution to it. We on the minority side will continue to assist the government with whatever ideas that we need to. So that is what I want to say. On the electric buses, yes, the previous government ordered 100 buses. The idea was that we want to bring 10 to try it, because that was the first time that we were adding EV buses to our fleet. So the idea was that after the 10, we'll bring back the 90. Now we lost power. We were expecting this administration, this new government, to bring in the 90 buses, which already all arrangement had been done. They have decided not to bring the buses. It is up to Ghanaians to put fire on their feet and ask them why they have not brought those buses. So please, these are the facts on the ground, and I know most Ghanaians knows about it. So let us be factual about some of these matters, so that we don't, in an attempt to make any equalization, we try to put out some falsehood, which at the end of the day, we will not be able to authenticate it. So that is what I want to say. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We will take the new set of questions. The next set of questions.
Good morning. My name is Marita from Manano Bloggers. My name is Marita from Manano Bloggers. My question is that what steps is the minority taking to address the many hospitals and other key projects initiated by the former government that has now been stored?
Honorable Jerry, he's done.
Yes. Next. Thank you. My name is Adamis. I work for the music. Minority leader, as you said in your presentation, that the minority will resist any bill that will come under certificate of urgency. And I was wondering, because when the pandemic issue came up, even though the minority protested vehemently and even took the center stage of the chamber, but the majority was able to pass 8 estimates at that time, in spite of the chaos, in the midst of the chaos, they continued because they have the knowledge. So, how serious can we take this issue? Because we could not even sustain the protest. It is only that day that you protested. The next day you competed with that. How do you take this serious? Thank you.
This question, even before the minority leader come, I don't know how you are talking about resistance and then the protests on that time. We are talking about 2026 and we are talking about 2025. We are 1 year behind. So let's make progress.
Thank you very much. My name is Valencia from GBC. I think my question is in line with what my senior colleague was talking about. So in his presentation, he made mention that the minority will not allow the majority to have its way this time. So we want to find out what way or what are some of the moves are going to do. Are you going to be working out the team like what we saw in the previous setting, or what moves are you going to do if the majority continues government business regardless of your objection?
My sister, if you listen to the minority leader very well, he said unless they beat us. So the walkout is not an option here. And you know, that's the leader. We are the whips. So come out with a strategy. But the last sitting, the certificate of agency were too many. And after that, you now see that they are coming back for amendments of the bills that they have just passed into laws because they rush it. They now realize that there are problems. They are coming with amendment. Even Goldberg, they will come with an amendment. Wait and see, because there are serious problems there. So that is why he is saying that we are ready to read. If they are not ready to read, we are ready to read and scrutinize every document. So rushing it, there are a lot of strategies as to how we can take it, and we understand it better than them.
But Chief, I'm wondering who discusses this strategy. We should not tell you our strategy. I don't get it.
Thank you. My name is Christian. With the insight in the they are concerned about the losses you mentioned regarding the gold for reserves. Our Bank of Ghana records indicate that during your tenure, especially between 2020 to 2024, there were significant losses under the Royal Gold for Reserves. The Bank of Ghana governor admits to the losses and is looking forward to solutions. It's called for an all-stakeholder engagement to find the way forward. Are you ready to sit at the table with Gold Board, Bank of Ghana, in finding a solution to the challenges in the sector? Thank you.
You want to take the question?
The Bank of Ghana one will respond.
Okay. So, Person said you want to know about the losses. You see, it would always be convenient for someone to engage in, blame game and say that, oh, something happened yesterday, so why must you question me if same thing is happening today? Granted, without admitting that indeed there were some losses in the previous years, didn't they come to say that they are resetting Ghana? And aren't they supposed to do things better than they came to meet it? So the fact that there were some mistakes, just for the sake of argument, means that I cannot question you if you're doing something wrong. I mean, I don't get the logic in there. But be that as it may, we have filed a motion, and that motion has been admitted. Hopefully, we'll have an opportunity to do the scrutiny, and the governor would have to explain the actions of the central bank. Although, like I said, we have also become aware that they had a joint board meeting where the charges that were already originally or previously around 15% have all been brought down. 9.7, let me get the correct figures. I don't want to. When we're dealing with numbers, we have to deal with numbers properly, so I don't want to. No, it's on the one paper. It's on a single document. Yes, it's here. We have 9.75 for the bullion and 9.55 for unprocessed gold. Previously, it was 15%. So you see, the minority scrutiny has yielded some gains. If the government thought all was well,
you are still watching Channel One Television. I am Samuel Akom. Just gone by is the minority in parliament issues, and to delve more into these matters, I have with me head of news Nana Tufo-Boateng to bring us the details. So welcome, and what were the key highlights for you with this particular press conference?
Very well. So basically what the minority is doing is to speak to 1 year of its scrutiny in the 9th Parliament of Ghana, and Alexander Fenyomakin, being the minority leader, was the one that addressed this particular press conference, giving us the highlights of almost all the things that have transpired within the first year of the second administration of John Dramani Mahama as president of Ghana. And the minority, of course, will touch on the economy, will touch on like governance, will touch on corruption and the likes. And on the economy, the minority began the conversations around the gold board. And according to the minority, the establishment of the gold board as a regulator and again a player in the industry encourages activities of illegal mining, what we popularly call galamsey. They believe that gold board, being the one to regulate the pricing of gold that is traded within the country and of course with foreign traders, and of course the absence of the implementation or enforceability of the traceability clause in the Gold Board Act makes room for some illegal activities to go on. There is issues on the destruction of the environment, the pollution of our water bodies, and call that some swift action is undertaken or implementation of some laws to ensure some sanity or protection of our environment. Still within that same activities of the Gold Board, the minority rehashed its position on the reported $214 million losses as captured by the IMF in its report.
The matter has not been brought to rest
exactly,
yet.
And that's musical chairs between the Bank of Ghana and the Gold Board, and the minority insists that whichever activity or whoever institutions operations resulted in the loss, a loss is a loss, and so therefore there should be ways to if like reduce this particular loss or prevent same. They actually even offered their expertise that they are available for discussions going forward to help address this particular loss. The minority, you will have them also touch on the judiciary, Ghana's judiciary, and say in fact, they actually took a swipe at the Chief Justice, Justice Paul Bafuboni, who in recent times has visited a number of state institutions. The minority is raising a question as to whether or not the Chief Justice is on a thank you tour. Ironically, the Chief Justice is paying a courtesy call on the Speaker of Parliament today. And the minority says they would not be part.
They were supposed to be part of that engagement.
In fact, they say they would not be part of that engagement. They describe the Chief Justice as intolerant and say that
sounds a bit harsh.
Indeed. But there is questions as to how some members of Parliament on the minority side were treated when they went for some applications at the court and all that. And then some other issues that the minority spoke of.
They mentioned something about the Foreign Affairs Minister calling for his resignation as well.
We know all that is happening regarding our foreign policy, our diplomatic relations in recent times. Recall that the Mahama administration, when it took over in January of last year, made some donations to the Republic of Palestine. Yes. Subsequently, we've had some back and forth with Israel, where there's been some deportation and all that. Recently, the capture of Nicolas Maduro of Venezuela by the U.S. President Donald Trump, and the subsequent statement issued by our Foreign Affairs Minister. The minority has, in a previous press conference, called for the dismissal or resignation of the Foreign Affairs Minister, saying that a country's diplomacy or foreign policy cannot be toyed with, in their own words, or as they claim, the way and manner in which it is going. And so they insist on the dismissal or removal of the Foreign Affairs Minister, as well as Ghana's ambassador to the United States. On that end, based on, if you like, commentary surrounding the arrest and detention of Ken Oforiatta, and of course reports on Sedina Tamakluationu, also in the United States.
So I was about asking you, what solutions or strategies are they proposing? I mean,
well, the minority has outlined a number of issues, and this press conference was particularly to, if like, rehash their scrutiny of government as the minority side in the 9th Parliament. What they were emphatic on was their availability to engage, especially regarding the losses as reported by the IMF. You would obviously have the minority also speak about the 9th Parliament itself, where they say that the previous sitting or the session was characterized by, if like, a rubber stamp approach, where the majority would always push bills through a certificate of urgency and have them, they say they will resist same, and of course not allow the majority to have its way so easily as it appears. They wrapped up that official presentation by Afenyo Markin with the 3rd term bid for John Mahama, as has been the conversation in some circles. And they say that this is not possible.
Thank you so much, Nana,
Absolute
for
pleasure.
watching Head of News.